वैभव,
Right.
सबसे पहले तो जैसे I said you ना that
हाँ.
what are your early memories of your father? I mean, you realize that he's a special man.
Um, I don't really have one particular memory of
Yes.
him, but
Huh.
I do remember that we used to go a lot to the shack, which is owned by Chetan uncle, Chetan Anand,
Yes.
the eldest brother. I'm sure you're aware of him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I was almost like my father's pet. So
Hmm.
wherever he went, it was very close to us. I would tag along. I
Yes.
remember going there one evening, and there was Chetan uncle, there was Dev Saab, there was Chafi Azmi, there
Yes.
was Dad, and there was Mom. What was the Jani? His name I forgot. Rajkumar. No,
Yes.
no,
Rajkumar.
Jani. Rajkumar. So there
Yes.
was Rajkumar,
Hmm.
and they were just talking about the song picturization of the Anand style.
Yes.
So that is when it hit me, probably 10, 11 or 12.
Yes.
There is something that these people do which is more than just an uncle figure.
How nice.
Yeah, because that is the first time I realized there was something about them. Because there was great respect for Chetan uncle.
Ji.
So when you went, because the difference was 10 years between the three brothers.
Yes.
So whenever we went there, he was treated as a film figure. The head of the family, an elder of the family.
Yes.
So this was the time when they were discussing movies, and Kafi Saab was sitting silently, and then they were all Chetan and Chevrolet would sit silently. They wouldn't utter a word. Shamaniji knows this very well. And there was something about them, and I said, "Who are these people?" Because I'm a little 10-year-old guy. All of them are in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
I mean, well, there was a huge age gap. I was also born very late.
Yes.
So when they were discussing these movies, that was the time I used to see movies. And there was no YouTube.
Correct.
There was no online, and you really couldn't get black market, thankfully. Yeah.
Yes.
Because days were cleaner. Not anymore, but the days were cleaner.
Yes.
And there was much more honesty.
Yes.
There was much more simplicity. There was much more secularism.
Correct.
And I saw this when I saw all four of them.
Yeah.
That would be the best memory, I think. So
Yeah.
I realized there's something special and I need to figure out. Of course, it came much later when I turned 16, 17 because filmmaking was not taught in the house.
Correct.
Because we led normal lives, and I would just sit at the studio, and everybody on earth would be at the studio.
Yes.
So I never saw them as film stars. I was never enamored by them.
Yes.
Because they would work. They would never come there. There was no. It's not like there was a press or people clicking photographs. They were coming and working, coming and working, coming and working.
Yeah.
Sitting, having a cup of tea, like maybe everybody you can name them. And
Yeah, so any names you remember of you seeing them working?
All of them. Who? Amir Khan, Juhi Chawla, Jitendra, Amitabh Bachchan, Hema Malini, and they would all come up and have a cup of coffee. Salman Khan, Salim Saab. I mean, everybody. You can just name them.
Yeah.
Sachin Tendulkar. So, I mean, I never saw them as big people. Dharmender. They would just come up and sit in the hall, and it was just like Rakesh Roshan sitting with Guddu or Duggu, his name was.
Yeah.
Shah Rukh Khan having a cup of tea.
With dad? You mean with dad?
No, he would always sit down. He never came up.
Acha.
I think he wanted to do something with Chetan uncle that didn't go through.
Huh.
So he had a little bit of a, anti-bug.
Yes.
But when you meet him in the lobby, very friendly, very warm.
Acha. You mean to say all these people came home?
Everybody.
Yeah. You mean to say all these people came home?
Yeah, all would come home.
Okay.
They would just come up and, just say, Golita hai, just sit down and go down and,
Yes.
Because he had a very, he had gone through, to answer one of your questions, he's gone through a very spiritual path in his life.
Yes.
I think that is because too much, he had got a lot of fame, he had achieved so much fame.
Yes.
There was some personal dilemma. There was also the fact that what have you accomplished by all of this?
Yes.
I think if I can understand also the loss of a mother at an early age, he was only 1 or 2.
Yes.
Then brought up by brothers.
Yes.
And then pretty much became self-independent thanks to Chetan uncle's grooming.
Yes. Yes.
And so there was an inclination to read. There was an inclination to know. And I think as my mom was sitting here, she was also mentioning that Mahesh Bhatt and Vinod Khanna and Parveen Bhabhi were part of this spiritual or a yoga group.
Yes.
And they had mentioned there was some chap by the name of Rajneesh, this baldish guy who's doing some yoga camp in Pune.
Yes. Yes.
So then he went to Pune to explore Rajneesh.
Yes.
Then he got fascinated, and then Rajneesh told him to make a movie on him, and he said, "Thank you, goodbye, suck off." He said, "That was it. I realized the man is no longer spiritual. The man has become material."
Acha.
So when Rajneesh said make a movie, the next day my father wrote a letter,
Huh?
and he left the ashram.
Huh.
So the thing is, he saw something there that whatever resonated with him. And
Yes.
I think I remember him telling me he asked him a few questions towards the later stage.
Huh.
I think he was there for 3 or 4 years, and he asked, or maybe 5. He asked a few questions at the later stage. That was also the time he was doing Rajput and Ram Balram.
Mm-hmm.
And Rajneesh didn't have the answers that he thought he'd have.
Last stage and later stage means some more
I think
questions.
it was fourth year or fifth year of my father's
Okay.
time there.
Okay.
And even my studio was an ashram.
Yes.
So
Why?
Rajneesh used, because the first floor at that time was not constructed, it was more like a terrace.
Acha.
And he would use that space for meditation, and anybody and everybody who was part of it would come there for meditation.
Huh.
So all the books of Rajneesh, all his paintings, everything is lying there.
Huh.
So that was a hub for their meditation, hub for, it was in sincerity to
Yes.
understand the unknown.
Yes.
So it was not hogwash.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what all of them were exploring. And then when they realized that something was amiss, I think that's when the same Parveen Bhabhi, Mahesh Bhatt, Dad, they all left. And there was a chap called Chandrasekhar who used to live in Santa Cruz.
Huh.
And he came in contact with, I think, Mom's brothers.
Huh.
And he said, there's a chap called Yuji who's coming to meet me.
Yes.
So if you're disorientated with Rajneesh, come and explore this man.
Yes.
And my father, being an ardent reader, he had heard of J. Krishnamurti. He's read of J. Krishnamurti, of course, then there was Rajneesh. So he said, let's find out what the third dude is about. And then Yuji stuck to the end.
Yes. Yeah. I'll just add, it's a nice thing that you have told me. Second thing is, what did Yuji give him that Rajneesh couldn't?
I think what Rajneesh gave him personally was an understanding of the personal life. He wanted to marry my mom. There were some issues with the family.
Yes.
And Rajneesh said, go ahead.
Huh.
And so he gave him stability as far as I can see, what my mother told me.
Yes.
But then when he realized that in the end Rajneesh wasn't who he was supposed to be,
yes,
he certainly didn't see him as a Bhagwan.
Huh.
Yuji saw him, Yuji became more like a friend, like a friend, somebody who is more realistic. Yeah, and you learn by your mistake.
Yes.
Yuji was not a guru. He was a man who we believe was enlightened.
Who believe, sorry?
We believed was truly enlightened.
Yes.
And my father felt Rajneesh was not enlightened.
Acha. Correct.
There was something which was not there.
Yes.
And with Yuji he found it.
Yeah, very nicely you said.
Yeah, Yuji became more of a philosopher friend. He was not somebody he followed, but he became a philosopher friend. There's a YouTube clip of my father talking about him.
Yes.
Somebody had put it, so they sent it to me. If you can have a look at that, Vijay Anand Yuji.
Yes.
And he would then use our flat, so he would come and stay here. He was almost like a migratory bird. So he liked being here in December, Jan, Feb, because it's cool in Mumbai, as you know right now.
Yes.
Then he liked going to Bangalore in Feb, March and April. And then April to, I think, June, July, peak summer, he would be in Gstaad, Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
So my father would go to Switzerland. So I know more about Switzerland than Mumbai.
Acha. Because you were there?
Because I would spend my life with him there.
How
I
nice.
was like a pet. Wherever Dad went, Papa, they'll tag along. That as a kid, you have only one person to idealize. It became him.
Yeah, hero.
Hero. I wouldn't say hero. He's still not my hero. I would say you're attached to somebody who you can confide in.
Yes.
More of an attachment than of a hero.
A friend.
A friend, yeah.
Yeah. And you also have trained under him. You have assisted him. You have watched his films. he always said, according to you, where did his genius as a filmmaker, in what did it lie? He always said that realism or entertainment का कोई रिश्ता नहीं है. Entertainment has no place for realism. When you watch his films, what was his genius?
I think it was, the thing is, his base was when he was studying in St. Xavier's.
Yes.
Doing theatre.
Yes.
And secondly, he used to memorize all the scripts that Chetan uncle was working on.
Huh.
So he would be ready very early in the morning. They're all early risers. I mean, they used to work so hard, you've no idea.
Yes.
And they would get up and do this, especially when they were shooting Taxi Driver. Uma auntie was also the writer. Dad was the writer. And they had no money.
Yes.
And I think they would go and shoot early in the morning for long, long hours. Chetan uncle, Dev uncle, Dad, all of them. And he would pick up the notes from Chetan uncle. Yeah, as my mom is saying, Chetan uncle लिखते थे तो पीछे आके खड़े हो जाते थे.
अच्छा अच्छा.
हाँ, एक दफा Chetan uncle stuck हो गए. हाँ. And Dad said, ये word डालो. हाँ. That Uma Didi has said. हाँ हाँ. Yeah, but that was much later. So that is how the bug started.
Okay.
So he learned from his elder brother. Then he was an ardent reader.
Ji.
In Xavier's, obviously, theatre.
Ji.
And then I do remember once he said it was not easy to see Hollywood movies in India.
Yes.
You had one theatre, Excelsior, or in town, the good old days of Bombay.
Yes, lovely days. Yeah.
Lovely days where you could actually just enjoy the city.
Correct.
So he said, I think they went after his first film, I think Nau Do Gyara or second film, he went to, I don't know, London or America, I'm not sure where.
Huh.
And for 2 months, he only saw films.
Oh.
He only saw films.
Which
and picked up so many books, all the Hollywood greats.
Okay.
Because at that time, they were more accessible abroad.
Yes.
And he picked up all the books from the writers of those filmmakers of the time.
Huh.
And I think there his understanding of cinema started. Because there he understood adaptation.
Huh.
And adaptation, of course, helped in Teri Miller, it helped in Guide.
Yes.
And even in Bullet.
Bullet, yes.
So that is all inspired by books.
Okay.
I mean, if you read The Citadel, Teri Miller is based on that. But not based on that, taken from there.
Taken from there, yeah.
And Mumtaz couldn't have looked prettier.
Yes. No, and you said the influence of Frank Capra, all these things. How did that influence?
I think that only happened when he went abroad.
He saw their films.
All these films, he was a student of literature, student of Hindi literature, English literature. So automatically being brought up in an environment of 41 Pali Hill, you had, Ravi Shankar, you had Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, you had Annapurna Devi, you had, people coming and going, and it was a madhouse.
Yes.
One of those pictures, I've put some of them on my Instagram, I'm sure you've seen.
Yes.
And there was so many people who were just creative.
Correct.
Guru Dutt. In fact, my mom used to say Gabali. So there were those days when everything was burnishing.
Yes.
And creativity was at its peak. So
Correct.
I think those influences, and they were all inspired from Hollywood, because in India you didn't have much material for cinema. In those days it was thankfully the word coined was not coined Bollywood. It was still Indian film industry.
Correct.
Industry also came much later. The government recognized it. Abhi bhi kahan recognize kiya hai? But they tried to recognize it. But otherwise it was Indian movies.
Yes.
Bengali cinema was at its peak. Satyajit Ray. South Indian cinema has its own stand.
Yes.
And the Hindi belt.
Very good. Yeah. Very well said.
Those were the influences which were there. Otherwise, there was nothing in India that you were inspired by.
Correct. No, you've given a very nice overview. And you said that after Nau Do Gyara, he went to London? I didn't get that line.
Mom, when did he go abroad for the movies? I think, no, he was not well, if I remember.
No, he went to London just like that, for a break.
I think he went abroad after Hum Dono.
Yes.
After Hum Dono.
And he stayed there, in London.
Yeah. No, I think London or America. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Definitely UK or US.
Oh.
Because those were the places you could see these movies.
Yes. And 41 Pali Hill, you said, is your home or is it Ketna?
No, 41 Pali Hill was owned by, there was a foreigner who owned it.
Acha.
And I think his wife is in one of the films of Chetan uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm forgetting this. This is Kunki will know, my eldest cousin.
Huh.
It was rented by the Anand family.
Yes.
Basically, my uncle Chetan and then Dev uncle and whoever would come in, nobody left.
It's like
Zora Segal, who else? Uday Shankar, Zora Segal. They used to come and go, but my family stayed there.
Okay, they rented that place.
They rented the place. The brothers and the sisters. There was a Mumbai base, Bombay base.
Okay.
And then when Chetan uncle started doing well, he moved to the shack. And then when Dev uncle started doing well, he bought his, of course, Jew bungalow.
Yes.
And then my father and the two sisters, they were youngest. Three of them were youngest, Usha, Boni, and Goldie. They moved in one room with my uncle Chetan.
Okay.
So by the time taxi driver and hum dono came, he was already living with my uncle Chetan.
Acha. Okay.
Three of them. They shared a room, and my uncle had the other room.
Okay. About guide to the more you talk, the less it is. And I mean, it's a landmark. I mean, it cannot be made. That film, those performances, those songs, music, cinematography, everything was excellent. As I've written in the question, R.K. Narayan said, that the film is more beautiful than the book. As a filmmaker, as a son, as somebody who knew him, what, according to you, made it so marvelous?
I think firstly, his inherent knowledge of cinema was at its peak.
Acha.
Because as a writer, I know that feeling. You can't start overnight.
Yes.
And even he knew that.
Yes.
And when you brush the skill, and you have your own life experiences and merged into the words and the emotions.
Yes.
That is the time when Guide came.
Acha.
So it was the right time at the right place in his right awakening. And he was already inclined towards, he hadn't gone to the spirituality. He was inclined towards spirituality.
Okay.
So that faceted in his work. He had a penchant for obviously song picturization and a huge command in writing.
Yes.
And he had read the Gita, he had read the Mahabharata, he read the Ramayana. So his knowledge of Hindi scriptures and Hindi or Indian Vedas were at his peak.
Yes.
That is the time when Guide came.
Yeah, but why did he want to change the script to suit Indian sensibilities?
One word he told me, he found it very vulgar.
Acha.
She goes into the bed with him at that time. I think that's in the book. I've read the book.
Acha.
And he thought that was, at that time, it was not so prevalent in India.
Yes.
Aajkal to shaadi karna dar lagta hai. You should know a divorce lawyer, you should know accountant, and you should know a lawyer.
Yes.
And timeline रख लो कि भाई 4 साल हो गए क्या होगा आगे.
Yeah, I agree totally.
हाँ, तो शादियाँ तो भाई भूल ही जाओ.
जी.
But at that time marriage was sacred.
जी. Yes.
So at that point he had to sort of dilute.
Yes.
So that point was diluted, and of course the spiritual angle was his own.
Yeah, the Rosie का character जो था वो काफी permissive था ना. So that
Rosie is pessimist because she doesn't know. She's come from a background where she's already been sold.
No, in the book I'm saying. So he had to.
In the book and in the film.
Acha.
I mean, in the sense, she just married off to an old man.
Yes.
That's happening in the villages even today.
Yeah.
And sadly, women are still being sold today.
Correct. Yes.
And that's what the Satyarthi Foundation is about.
Yes.
Not only child labor, but sexual exploitation.
Yes.
So that time it was normal. It was a different way of doing it. But, you can marry her off.
Yes.
And never mind if the man is important. You don't even know.
Yeah. For respectability, just do it.
Yeah, for respectability, because she's unfortunately the daughter of what is that word?
Devdasi.
Yes. And she doesn't have a societal standing. And she felt the mother felt this man will give you that, but it turned out to be the opposite.
Correct. Yes. And
it's predominantly a female-centric story, which my uncle had objections, in case you don't know.
Achha.
And he was very angry that all the songs, which of course are timeless, were picturized on Vanita ji.
Acha, Dev Saab, you are saying.
So he there was a bit of a cul-de-sac.
Oh.
So then my father and the lyricist, Shankar, I'm forgetting the lyricist.
Huh.
Died.
Yes, Shailendra.
Shailendra. So Shailendra and my father and I think LG Burman, they sat down and then they wrote Kya Se Kya Ho Gaya later on.
Acha.
That song was not there in the beginning.
Acha.
So they wrote included it for Dev Uncle, and then they included another bit here and there for Dev Uncle.
No, sorry, I didn't get. Why was Dev Saab upset?
He was upset because the songs are only on her.
Oh.
There was
Yes.
When the movie was 80% done, it struck my uncle that there are no songs on me.
Oh God.
Yeah, because there are no songs on him. The beginning is background song.
Acha.
Mose Chal is out and out Vahida.
Yes.
Even Piya To Se out and out Vahida.
Yes.
And so then they infused two songs. One is when he's drinking. And the other one is when the net falls on him in between of Muh Se Chal.
Yes.
Antara Mukhda. So they included that for Dev Uncle later on.
Yeah. Kya Se Kya Ho Gaya and that one.
Yeah, I'm forgetting. Bewafa.
Tere Pyar Mein.
Those
Yes.
songs were later on to satisfy my uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and Vahida ji.
You always Vijay Anand, you know that, yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I'll talk about that also. This Vahida ji, I mean, was Vijay Saab really very happy with her performance because she's been it's iconic for her.
Yeah, I think they've done two films. I think one is Kala Bazaar.
Yes.
And one is a Full Guide.
Yes. नहीं वहीदा जी का उनका क्या था नजरिया? How did he view her as an actress? Was he happy with her work?
I think he was very fond of all his heroines because number one, he knew their versatility. He never worked with anybody who was mediocre. Which is why he had a problem working later on. And the problem with him and the problem with all the Anand brothers is that they were extremely well educated.
Yes.
Extremely refined.
Yes.
And extremely honest.
Yes.
And that time the industry was very clean. There was word of mouth was like oak.
Yes.
And even if Dev Uncle had issues or walked out of Tisri Manzil, Shami Saab had called Dev Uncle and asked, is it okay if I can do the role?
Yes.
So there was that camaraderie, there was that friendship, there was that courtesy.
Yes.
And mutually with everybody.
Yes.
There was no backbiting. There was no tanebazi. There was rivalry, which is there in any profession.
Yes.
But there was healthy rivalry.
Yes.
And I think all the heroines were very sophisticated. All the heroines, including Vahida ji, whenever you meet them, were cooperative or professional. Whether it's Vahida ji, Hema ji, Vajanti Mala.
Yes.
And I mean, just artists. One artist likes another artist, and then it clicks.
Yes.
That's the best thing to see. I mean, even if you see Hema ji in Janeman, which is Chetan uncle, it's phenomenal.
Yes.
There's a different side of her.
Correct.
So Vahida ji and Dad had a great combination, as far as I know. And I think they were fond of each other.
Yes.
And of course, working with Dev Uncle, Vahida ji had done many more movies with Dev Uncle than Dad.
Yes.
There was a comfort level.
Yes, comfort level. It was like family.
There was a family, there was a comfort level. And when you were on the set of Navketan, you were never felt, you were well taken care of.
Yes.
I went to one or two sets as a kid, and there's no problem.
How nice.
Whatever you want is done.
Yes. Somebody who had an eye for aesthetics. Now, I'll come to sound picturization next, but I just want to continue with this thought. What was his idea of a woman's beauty? Because all his heroines were presented beautifully. He never went overboard with them.
No. Including Helen.
Huh?
Including Helen.
Yes, Helen ji.
All the songs.
Yes. So, how did he view a woman's beauty? What, according to him, made a woman beautiful? कभी कुछ discuss करते थे?
This I have no idea.
Right.
So I would not know.
Okay. Okay, tell me about his song picturizations. I mean, reams and reams have been written on it. And as I said, he once said that my camera listens to the song and moves with it. तो कुछ ऐसे stellar examples of his picturization I want to hear from you. We
I
know.
think, I think for him it was, the first thing is, all of them were very melodious.
Yes.
The influence, again, I would say Guru Dutt, Raj Khosla and Chetan Uncle at the time was full of melody.
Yes.
R.D. Burman and all the musicians Ravi Shankar would just be flourishing in that place.
Yes.
S.D. Burman. So the music was inherent in him.
Correct.
He would listen to songs. He would listen to a lot of Hollywood songs on the radio or the cassette.
Yes.
And so that, I think, is ingrained from there.
Yes.
And then song picturization came from Chetan Uncle.
Yes.
And song picturization moved the story forward.
Yes.
So I think with Chetan Uncle and Raj Khosla, they didn't really move the story forward.
Yes. Yes.
The songs were somewhat a song.
Yes.
But with Guru Dutt, they moved the story forward. And with that, he took it a step further.
Yes. Yes. Very true.
So song was not like, a break.
No.
Although you needed, at that time, you needed, these entertainment values.
Yes. Yes.
So it was an entertainment value, but he infused it in a story format.
Yeah.
It was in Guide, you have 4 shots in that song, Tere Mere Sapne.
Sapne, ha.
It's in 4 shots.
Yes, yes.
And then if you see Hoto Pe Aisi Baat, the full, even if you watch the Sony shows on Saturday, Sunday, they still talk about Judy.
Yes.
So it's just that he finished it off. It was just like, she has to express this through the words, and through the vigor, and through the absolute energy. So the camera follows.
Okay. So he this was his speciality, right? He had very little cuts in a song, so he liked it that way to keep up the momentum of the emotion.
Yeah, it was just the momentum of the emotion. He once told me, "Don't believe in long shots."
Okay.
And to your surprise, he didn't believe in them. He just felt if they're useful to capture the momentum, let it go on.
Okay.
Don't unnecessarily cut.
Okay, no unnecessary cuts.
Yeah, and he would be the editor anyway. He would be in the editing room. So he messaged to once the ask रह जाए तो बाद में मैं तो बैठा ही हूँ ना काट दूँगा.
Correct. And
if you see तेरे तीसरी मंजिल, they're phenomenal, those songs.
Yes. वो मेरे सोना रे सोना and Aja Aja.
And of course, Aja Aja. And the first time that they meet.
Oh Hasina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
Correct. And you said something about Helen G. That
because the way he gave her a look. She becomes a character in the movie.
In Tisri Manzil?
In Tisri Manzil, in Jewel Thief, she's, of course, is another level, yeah.
Yes.
Because you look at her and you're spellbound by her beauty, and she's in a way, she's not a villain.
Yes.
She's in a way in love with him.
Correct.
And she dies for him. She takes a bullet for him.
Yes.
So, the characters, even Helen, they were not there put in for show.
Yes.
They were part of the play. They were part of the plot. They were part of the story.
Correct.
And if they attributed aesthetically, which is of course her beauty, Helen was known for her beauty and her songs.
Yes.
She used that in songs. Even in Jewel Thief, when she dances on the taka taka tak, that in Jewel Thief, she says, "Baithe hain kya uske paas, aina mujhsa nahi."
Jewel Thief.
Jewel Thief. That's Helen.
Okay.
So he knew how to weave their strong points into the script.
Correct. Very true. No, and I told Mumtaz ji also in my interview with her that she has never looked so beautiful as in Tere Mere Sapne. And he made her do that film when she was at her glamorous peak.
Yes.
And Tere Mere Sapne, the songs are so beautifully picturized, especially, that song, Mera Antar Ek Mandir. It's a very rare song. And I think Jeevan Ki Bagya Mehkegi. I thought the close-up shots and everything was very sensual.
Yes.
So
very, very beautifully done. Without looking cheap.
Never, not at all.
Yeah,
and the saris. Can you tell me something about Mumtaz's look in Tere Mere Sapne?
That I would not know at all.
No, but when you watch the film, what appeals to you? The way he has done.
What appeals to me is her performance. Because I've never seen her perform like that.
Yes.
Except in a few films with Rajesh Khanna.
Yes.
Other than that, they've never really captured her true essence.
Yes.
I think they've always given her a bit, if I can use the word, offbeat kind of a character, not bordering around a little bit sexiness.
Yes.
And
yes.
in here, he treated her like a woman.
Yes.
And she's shown.
Yes.
Not many people know this. I don't know if I can say it, but Jaya Bahaduri had met him for this role.
Okay.
In Tere Mere Sapne.
Really?
And at that time, he had met her, and I think through some people, and then he met her, and then obviously didn't go through. Maybe he made Hannah Jaya Bachchan. At that time, she looked very young for the role.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
And then he took Mumtaz. And little did you know, he worked with her then in Kurakadu.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's a nice film. Yeah. Good film.
So age-wise and height-wise and everything, she wouldn't have matched my Uncle Dev.
Yes.
At that time. There was also a huge age gap.
Well, a lot of age, big age gap. Yeah.
So for Mumtaz was at that time the correct fit.
Yeah.
And Hema Ji was in the film, as you know, she plays the actress.
Yes, yes. And what about the song picturizations of Tere Mere? Something, your input. What do you like about them?
As you know, the bicycle scenes are Hollywood.
Lovely, yeah.
Yeah, he knows that.
Huh.
And but the reason he wanted to make that film is he had a kidney stone when he was during the time of Hum Dono.
Yes, yes.
And the doctors treated him on the wrong kidney.
Yes.
And he got bedridden for a year. So that was anti-allopathy. He went into homeopathy.
Yes.
And at that time, he was stuck in the shack, but Amarjeet nursed him.
Yes.
But he promised Amarjeet a film.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Amarjeet goofed up.
Yeah.
But Hum Dono was obviously directed by my father.
But the name.
Again, the loyalty, he gave the name.
Promised, yeah.
Promise is a promise.
Yeah. Yeah.
His understanding of what doctors are and, of course, how they practice.
Yes.
Abhi to khair, I don't know. They're good also, they're bad also.
Yes.
Abhi to dhanda ho gaya hai.
Yes.
The more patients you get, the more the hospital flourishes.
Yes.
You can have a Starbucks and a pizza on the side. It's like amazing. But then you have hospital ja rahe ho ki aap mall ja rahe ho.
Yes. Yes.
So in that time, the hospitals were just, fleecing people.
Yes.
So that is why he wanted to do something on that subject. And when he came across Citadel,
yes,
the book was given to him by Amit Khanna.
Amit Khanna.
Amit Khanna gave him the book.
Yes.
I still have the book given by him.
Yeah.
So he gave to Citadel. He said, Goldie Saab, read this. You might like this story.
Yeah, lovely.
And that's how he made the film.
Yeah. Okay. And Vaibhav, about the three brothers, what was the relationship like? Like I read in one of your interviews only that Dev Saab didn't like the frank opinion, which Goldie Saab gave as a filmmaker to him, and because
not at all. He didn't like anybody's opinion.
Yeah.
There was a time he used to make the dad see the film for his input. And then dad would say, "Agi kar deta, Papa." He would like, "What do you mean, agi kar deta?" He was like, "What have you made?" And I think after three, and then there was Hare Rama also was where dad gave a lot of inputs. After that, they also stopped asking.
Acha.
Yeah. And dad also stopped giving. Because, you see the movies, I can't even explain them.
Yes, I know.
So he went off beat, he went off track. And my father said, "Chalo, let him just be happy with his life." So does he say.
Okay.
Yeah, but he couldn't take it. He couldn't, he could take, my uncle Chetan could tell him that you're wrong, this is how you'll do it.
Yes.
And he would agree. And that's why also in the future when he became the star, he was, the egos in the sense he couldn't take too much of lessons. So he went his own way. My uncle Chetan also amicably went their own way.
Yes.
So the relations remained.
Okay.
Same way he couldn't take my father's criticism. Even last film when they made Jana Dil Se Dur, my father had solid control over him.
Yes.
And I could see that. He couldn't do left or right without his input. So, and he respected that because he knew the dad knew his job. But the ego would still come up at times.
Yes.
So you have to balance it.
Correct. And as brothers, how were they? This was like as professional.
Very close.
Very close?
No two ways about it. Yeah.
Okay.
All three of them.
Okay.
All three, all the brothers, all the sisters. Very close. You wouldn't miss an evening there, or you wouldn't miss coming here, or I mean wherever.
Okay.
You get a chance to meet, and they would. I mean, because they're so close, Juhu Bandra kitna dur hai. And meeting was once a week to ho hi jata tha, or twice a week to ho hi jata tha.
Acha. Okay, and towards the latter part of Vijay Saab's career, Hum Rahe Na Hum, Main Tere Liye, he was finding it difficult to release them. And then as your mother only had, Sushma ji ne bataya tha, he said, my time is over. So was he frustrated by the mediocrity around him?
No, I think two things. One is, he went off track. He had a love for acting for a very long time.
Acha.
From the days of Agra Road. It was done that with the Chetan. And plus, he was also focusing more on him as an actor. He was focusing less on himself as a director.
Acha, towards the end.
And that was not working. It was also the techie cut. But that worked. But then he was getting the kind of roles which he was sort of content with. So he started making films for himself, which backfired.
Yes.
And then by the time he got into direction again, which is Rajput Ram Balram, the long production hours, the really excessive long gaps in between shoots frustrated him. So there were massive scale projects at that time. They were biggest colossal projects of his time. You see the cast of Rajput and Ram Balram, it is phenomenal.
Yes.
The who's of that time are in it.
Yes.
So coming from the the star system which had crept in, but he was still the star director. But the long hours, the long waiting, the long games made him impatient.
Correct.
Made him impatient, and plus I think once he told me I had achieved as much as I could possibly achieve. So what more do I do?
Yes. Very honestly, you have said, Vaibhav. Really nice. Yeah.
So you're a simple man. If you come home, you'll be in kurta pajama.
I know. Yes. I regret I never met him. And Vaibhav, Jana Na Dil Se Dur. You assisted him in this film, right?
I assisted in that film,
yeah. What did you learn from him, and how different or alike are you all as maybe as artists, as human beings?
To be frank, on that film, I didn't learn anything.
Acha?
Because it took him a long time to finish that film.
Oh.
A lot of pain, lot of financial problems. Again, there was my uncle and a couple of new actors. So it was when you're making a movie with the time demands of star, it's not exactly a film that can be easily released.
Yes.
Today is a different time. You can make a movie and put it on Netflix.
Correct.
That time you couldn't.
Yes.
So he finished the film because he was a man who believed he was a man of conviction. So he followed it. Whether he was right or wrong, he followed it till the end.
Yes.
And I think how different are we? I have yet to start. But I have luckily done 2 projects. I'm waiting for one film to come out. We've done a small film with a friend of mine.
Acha.
And it's an interesting cast, and she's on the verge of releasing it.
Okay. No.
But I'm as a writer very different, as a director very different.
Acha.
Because my experiences are today. And his experiences were yesterday.
Okay. Yes.
And whatever you have to inculcate, it has to sort of appeal
to the time.
Today's world.
Yes. No, but as a student of cinema, what did you learn from him? Something key, something important, not elaborate, but something very important you picked up from him.
No, to be really frank, nothing.
Yes.
Because when I used to see his films, the first thing he used to tell me is, don't see my films again and again. He did that once at the shack when we were seeing, I think it was the first time I saw, maybe Jewel Thief or something. I was a kid. And he was telling me, don't see my film again.
Why?
Because you don't want to follow me. You see, he really told me my eldest brother Chetan uncle was a filmmaker. I said, yes, I know. But I didn't follow him.
Oh.
That's why his cinema is different.
Oh.
My cinema is different.
Yes.
And if you start imitating me, but subconsciously you will want to be me, which is not you.
Very nice. Yeah.
If you try to be me, you will falter because I have achieved, he has achieved.
Yes.
You try and find your own path, your own germ, your own. And firstly, he told me it is in your blood. Best advice is in your blood. It will come when the time comes.
Oh,
So
really?
you follow that, work hard. Obviously, you have to work hard. Isn't it? सुबह उठ के हाँ हो जाएगा.
Huh.
Work hard,
Huh.
but follow your own path and don't follow me.
Correct. Yeah. So
Because when
honest.
people call me, people call me to talk about him, I don't talk about him.
Yes.
You're only an exception because we are fond of you.
No, no.
Because there's nothing to talk. They say, why don't you talk about it? Why don't you do? I said, because he never wanted me to.
Yeah.
So the problem is, if you live in someone's shadow, you will not grow.
Very nice. Yeah.
And he said, when you would walk in his town, which was Gurdaspur.
Yes.
And I've not forgotten this. That's where Chetan rarely went there. You were known as Pishori Mal's son.
Acha.
Because Pishori Mal was a revered lawyer in the town.
Oh.
A man who knew 12 languages.
Huh.
And he said the whole village, the whole Ping, the whole Punjab knew who this Gurdaspur, who Vijay Anand is.
Yes.
And then they said, "Arey, to Devan inka beta hai, Chetan inka beta hai, Goldie inka beta hai."
Oh. Acha.
So that was their thinking. That he has accomplished his way, he's accomplished his way, now you accomplished your way.
Ji, ji.
The fault of some of the Anand family is that they unfortunately started following their father. That's why they failed.
Why you say like this?
Because when you start following your father, you can't become your father.
But they were not lawyers. They went into a different field.
No, in cinema only.
Acha.
They started following their parents. They started imitating what Devankar did. The son followed. I won't get too much into that. But because the time is different, the learning is different, the understanding is different. And if you've got it in you, one day it will come out.
Yes. Yes.
It will come out on its own.
Correct.
You can't force it out.
Correct. Yes.
So by saying, meri tarah ban, meri film mein ye, so this is complete, he said, this is wrong philosophy.
Yes. Yes.
Because you will never be able to, and you don't want to.
Correct.
The time is different, the thinking is different, the cinema is different. And it's already there for people to learn from.
Yes. Yes.
So it's already there in the classics. He's already made a mark.
Yes.
You can't change it.
Yes. Yes.
So go out and make your own mark.
Yeah, I agree. Very nice and very progressive way of looking at it. Was
not
it just
pragmatic?
Yeah. No, the same progressive streak थी शायद जो उनका सेंसर बोर्ड में भी उनको प्रॉब्लम होता था. He was liberal. He wanted to open up.
He went back and forth with Sushma Swaraj. I remember those calls.
Yeah.
I think she was a tough lady.
Acha.
And she was someone who was also very forward thinking. No doubt about it. She had come home twice. I remember meeting her. And she's done a lot for the people who were stuck abroad, as you know, last 2 years when she was external minister.
Yes.
And she always agreed with him, but the government at that time did not.
Acha.
So she became, unfortunately, stuck. Like it's a dichotomy. Do I go this way or that way? And he said, what are you afraid of sex? What are you afraid of vulgarity? Go to the temples. You're making money out of that.
Sorry,
go to the temples, go to the, this Harappa, all these places where you have the scriptures. Khajuraho. Nudity is not a crime.
Yeah.
Today, what is selling on Netflix, Amazon, is in between the galiyan hai.
Barabar.
The script has 80% bad words. The script has 10% sex.
Yes, yes.
So what are you seeing?
Yeah.
And how many ways of abusing are there?
Correct.
So the thing is, the culture of the society is part of your culture.
Yes.
Don't shun it.
Yeah.
But use it in a proper way. But the problem is he was too forward.
Yes.
Too ahead of his time.
Yes.
And that time was a very regressive time. I hope some sense prevails today's government because the industry is contributing so much to them in terms of jobs, in terms of economy, in terms of tax.
Yes.
And I think they should give them the respect that they need.
Even prestige internationally.
Even prestige, they should. When you have these festivals, they're mediocre. You go to Cannes. I went there for guide. That was honored there. And what an honor they gave guide.
Correct.
It was tragic he was not there.
Yes.
But what an honor they gave guide. Only Indian film to receive their honor.
Yes.
And surprisingly, my uncle Chetan had gone there for Nicha Nagar, the only Indian film to win a Grand Prix.
Yes.
So there are only two Anand brothers in the history of cinema that have gone to Cannes and been acknowledged.
Yes.
And what a festival it is. Venice, Golden Lion, New York Film Festival, or Sundance, Los Angeles Film Festival. You go to China.
Yes.
The festivals there, Hong Kong, Beijing, they're world apart. Because the government extends support. The government has a liaison. He has an officer specially, for the industry. What do you need, sir? How do we arrange for you? What are the filmmakers? यहाँ तो भैया गोवा जाके खुद कहीं ढूंढ लो, फिल्म चल रही है जाके देखो.
बराबर.
Yeah, it's crap.
Yes. Vaibhav, his last regret was Vijay Ji's, that he couldn't do much for you. And and he was he a sad man towards the end? January you returned, I think, from college, no?
Very sad, because I think he was I think there were a lot of emotions stirring in him about the past, about not being able to properly manage his production house, having perhaps retired at the wrong time, then seeing the age gap between the son and father. So that was also disturbing. Then I was becoming a young man, some of the first snapper, and dad was no longer young. So I think those were the feelings that were in him. And he was into astrology, so he had a feeling that it was time to go. He wouldn't say it. He had a feeling.
Your Lee Strasberg, you went to study filmmaking at Lee Strasberg?
Yeah, I went to study filmmaking in America, in New York, and then I also went for acting theatre at Lee Strasberg.
Okay.
That's also New York.
Okay.
Then I was with Satyadev Dubey at Lee Theatre for many years.
You did with him?
With him, yeah, he was a phenomenal guy. But he's also no more. And they were like Satyadev Dubey and my father.
Yes.
So they knew each other. Mahendra Kapoor, Satyadev Dubey, dad.
Yes. I get it.
So all of them were very creative.
Yeah, very. That whole era was like that.
Whole era, yeah. Simple era. There were no heirs.
And they were well-read people. आज के जैसे नहीं, WhatsApp generation.
Respectful, secretary वगैरह कुछ नहीं. ऐसे नहीं कि there's a fortress around you.
Yes.
There are bodyguards around you. अरे भाई मिलने तो दो.
Correct. I get it. Yeah. How would you like to remember him? Last question on him.
How would I like to remember him? Oh, that's a good question. I think just as a very good father figure. That's it.
Yeah.
At home, he was just like as you know, he was very liberal in his thoughts.
Yes.
So he allowed me to be me and understand my own growth naturally. Which is, I think, a very rare thing between a father and a son. Sometimes they impose, ye kar, wo kar,
yes.
He always hoped to pass ho jaye. But he knew in terms of evolving as a person and as hopefully a filmmaker, he'll do it on his own if I give him the right leeway.
Yes.
So that he was very very conscious of that. Yeah, I don't want to tighten the grip. Let him slowly evolve.
Yes.
So that's why he knew. That's why I think he was very good as a father figure. He was very good he was the youngest out of the 12 siblings. But all the 12 siblings came to him for advice.
Yeah, very interesting thing.
All of them trusted him, whether it was financially, whether it is personally, whether it is in any case, whether it was 9 and 12 same the other two.
Yes.
But even if it was a personal life, they came and trusted him.
Yes. Very nice.
Because he knew how to give them the right advice.
Yeah.
So they took it or not is a different matter, but he knew.
Yes, he had an innate wisdom in a way.
Innate wisdom, yeah. There was just Uncle Chetan, their uncle, all the aunts, their children. Shekhar Kapoor, he's lived here for years.
Yes.
So they all were groomed. I mean, I was a groom, but they all came to him. They said, Goldie ke paas jao, kuch baat karni, Goldie ke paas jao.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Surprisingly, he was the center or the focal point of the family.
Yes.
Which is why, because I am the youngest, I became the center and the focal point.
Acha. Okay. Even you?
Even me. With the family, I am the closest because I was close to all of them.
Yes.
Because they would come to meet dad, so I was there ghar pe.
So you also bonded. Yeah.
Because
yes. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you and you're really sweet.